Hey, YouTube fam, it's Dana Shay, and you are in for a treat today. We are talking about a conversation that, if we're honest, we don't like to talk about, and that is jealousy. If we are honest, most of us have been in relationships with people who are jealous, or dare I say, maybe you are the one who is jealous. So I wanted to have a conversation about what is jealousy, first of all, where does it come from? What are the root causes of jealousy? And friends, can jealousy ever be good in a relationship? So that's what we're talking about today on this episode. If you would like to hear the full episode, which I know you do, head over to realrelationshiptalk.com/episode 112. But in the meantime, check out this video snippet of this very important conversation. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. All right, y'all, let's just get right into it. I want to talk to you about jealousy. Jealousy is a topic that so many of us are embarrassed or ashamed to talk about. We feel guilty for being jealous. We don't want to admit it when we're jealous. We act like we're not jealous, right? We overcompensate. We do all kinds of things. And what I wanted to talk about today is what is the root causes of jealousy, or what are the root causes of jealousy? Because there are many. And before we get into all of that, though, I want to kind of give you a little piece of imagery here. So I want you to imagine you're 6 years old. You are in elementary school. It's the first day of first grade, and you've got your new little friend that you just met. And all throughout the school year, you and this friend, you do everything together. You sit beside each other at lunch. You play at recess at school. You share lunches. You share everything. This is your special friend. This is your very best friend. Now, I want you to imagine that a few months into the school year, a new kid comes into town, and they think that they're going to take away your new best friend. You are not having that. What arises in you is the same thing that arises in us when we are married or we are in romantic relationships and we feel threatened. We look at somebody else, looking at our spouse or looking at our boyfriend or our girlfriend, and those same feelings of jealousy rise up in us. So is jealousy sin? Is it wrong? Is it bad to be jealous? Well, that depends on a few things. First of all, I do believe that in some cases, jealousy can actually be good for your relationship. Now, I want to give you a huge disclaimer, right? Big disclaimer here. Okay. Jealousy is only helpful in a relationship when it is in small amounts and when it is not consistent or chronic. So if you are in a relationship with someone who is always jealous, they're always looking at your every move, they're always questioning where you've been, who you're talking to, what are you doing? That's not healthy. But friends, think about this. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they never care about what you're doing, or if the relationship is threatened and they don't care at all, well, I would question the commitment of that relationship. I would ask myself, is this relationship really important to them if they never show any kind of concern when the relationship is possibly threatened? Now, again, I want to make sure that I'm being clear when the relationship is actually being threatened, not somebody who is insecure, not somebody who is paranoid, but when your relationship is actually being threatened, there should be something that rises up in us like, and that little feeling, that little emotion is jealousy. So let's talk about when jealousy becomes bad. And this is usually 90% of the time, jealousy is not going to be good for your relationship. So the three causes of jealousy, I actually just kind of spoiler alerted one a little while ago, which is insecurity. Okay, that's the main cause of jealousy in a relationship. It's when people are insecure. And listen, let's be real. We're all insecure sometimes. There are times that maybe we don't like the way we look. Maybe we've gained too much weight. We've lost too much weight. Our hair, we don't like our hair. We, have acne. I don't know. Think of all the things that make us insecure. Maybe we haven't accomplished something in our lives, and then we meet somebody and they're like, got it going on in all the areas, and it makes us insecure. Well, insecurity can be a root cause of jealousy when you begin to think less of yourself in a relationship, then you begin to feel threatened in that relationship because of number two, fear. You are afraid of losing that relationship. Or you're afraid of being rejected, or you're afraid that maybe you are offering more of a commitment than your partner is offering to you. And so you get jealous. So fear is the second main culprit of jealousy. So the third culprit of jealousy is a lack of trust. And this one is really touchy because if your relationship has gone through infidelity, if it has gone through a season where there was a breach of trust, well, then obviously you are going to probably be jealous in that relationship if you have not restored and rebuilt the proper way. And this is why a lot of the work that I do, I actually help couples to rebuild and restore their relationships, marriages from infidelity. You cannot just wish infidelity away. It doesn't work like that. If you have ever been cheated on, if you have cheated on your partner, you are going to have to go through some intentional steps to heal that relationship, to rebuild it. If you don't, then you're always going to have a jealous partner in there. Because why? They're insecure. They're afraid that that relationship is being threatened. They can't trust you, or maybe you can't trust them. And so therefore, you're going to constantly be jealous. So remember that the three causes, okay? And I'm sure there's more, but these are the three, at least that I've seen and the work that I do. The three main causes, at least, is insecurity, fear, and a lack of trust. So, how do we get over jealousy? Do we just wish it away? Do we just pretend that it's not really a big thing? Do we just accept it as a part of normal relationships? No, no, no. I believe that we need to overcome jealousy in our relationships because jealousy left untreated is like a cancer. The book of Proverbs actually says that jealousy rots the bones. So think about that in your relationships. None of us want to be in a relationship with somebody who's controlling or who is watching us in our every move, who's accusing us or manipulating us in any way, shape, or form. Those relationships aren't healthy and they're not happy. And none of us want to be in those kinds of relationships, right? So we need to talk about how to overcome this. Now, the way to overcome jealousy, first of all, starts out with being super honest. It's getting vulnerable. It's getting transparent. It's taking self-inventory and being self-aware of your weaknesses. Y'all, we all got weaknesses. It's okay. Just acknowledge what those weaknesses are and be willing to confront them. So, what does this look like? If one of your root causes is insecurity, then guess what? How do you get over insecurity? This is a whole podcast episode in and of itself, right? How to combat insecurity, and maybe we'll do one. The best way to overcome insecurity is to build confidence. Now, how do you build confidence, Dana? Well, you're going to build confidence by doing consistent behaviors over time. Sounds just like how you rebuild trust, isn't it? So what do I mean by that? All right, let's say that you play sports and you're not that great at sports. You just weren't born with like the sports DNA gene, okay? But you try. You go to practice, you work hard, you're trying to do everything that your coaches say do. And guess what? Eventually over time, you start developing some skills. And then you start to get better. And then you start to get more playing time. Well, guess what? All of that is going to give you confidence, which is then going to combat that insecurity that you had that you weren't a good player in the first place. It's the same thing in relationships, you guys. If there is something in us that we feel insecure about, we have to ask ourselves, how can I build confidence in that area? So if you don't like the way you look, right? And so you're constantly comparing all these other folks to yourself because you're like, oh my gosh, if only I looked like that. Oh, I know my husband really wants somebody who looks like that. Yeah, I bet my wife is really wanting a guy who looks like that. Well, guess what? You know what you can do? Build up that area about yourself. Build it up. Now, I'm not saying go on a diet. I'm not saying harm yourself physically. Of course, I'm not saying any of that stuff. But what I am saying is that some of the stuff that makes us insecure, you guys, we can actually change. We can actually build confidence in those areas. And then you want to make sure that you understand this. This is so important. Your self-worth and value does not come from your performance or your appearance. If you have been in a relationship with somebody who has made you feel that way, they are wrong. You are worthy and valued for who you are. And so, if there are areas in your life that you are insecure, be honest with those things, deal with those things, build confidence in those areas. All right, let's move on. So, let's say number two, another root cause, there's fear. You're afraid of something in your relationship. Maybe it's a fear of intimacy. Maybe it's a fear of commitment. Maybe it's a fear of rejection, right? A fear that your spouse is going to walk out on you or that they're doing something out there that they shouldn't be doing. There's some kind of a fear. Well, what do they say? What do they say about fear? False evidence appearing real. Well, the problem with the false evidence is it seems real. That's why it appears real, right? It feels like this is reality when in actuality, it might not be reality at all. It might literally be in your mind. And so, how do you combat fear? You combat fear with belief, with faith, with believing the best about your partner or believing the best about your relationship. The truth is, if you can't believe the best about your partner, it's probably not the right relationship. So if you're constantly thinking, this person, I know they're going to leave me. I know they're going to leave me. Some of that might just be in your head and you might need some help just dealing with like paranoid thoughts. But have some faith in your partner. If there's been no breaches of trust, if your partner hasn't given you any reason not to trust them, then you need to deal with your ish. Okay. You need to deal with your stuff, maybe from a prior relationship. Maybe you were hurt, you were broken, you were damaged, you were abused, you were misused. You need to be willing to say, you know what? This is not that. So I don't have to make my current partner pay for the mistakes of my previous partner. Heal. This is why I always tell people, don't jump from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. It's not good. You're carrying around all that baggage and you're not healed. And therefore, you are going to misuse the current partner that you're with. That's a word for somebody right there. Don't make your current partner pay for the mistakes of your past partners. So heal from your issues, okay? Don't allow fear to control your life. Fear is like a bully. It literally knocks on your window and torments you. Don't allow it to do so. Overcome fear with faith, with belief, with trust, with hope. The third thing that we can do to overcome these issues of jealousy, these root causes of jealousy, is to deal with any breaches of trust, right? Some people have gone through infidelity. Like I said earlier, you've gone through breaches of trust, major breaches, betrayals in your relationship. I believe, now I'm going to talk to married folks and I'm going to talk to single people, okay? I'm going to be real clear. If you are single, you are not married to this person, and they're cheating on you, walk away. Goodbye. Leave. Why? Because if you do not, you are showing that person, this is what I'm willing to accept in a marriage. Now, if you are married, I do not believe that you should be in a marriage where you are habitually being cheated on. Marriage is sacred. You are taking a covenant, I believe, before God, before your family, before each other. So this is not a relationship where it's like an open door policy. Okay. That's not the way marriage was intended to be. However, because you took a covenant to death do us part, I believe, now this is my personal belief. You can choose to disagree if you want. That's fine. But I do believe that you should do everything within your power to see if that relationship can be reconciled. Sometimes it can't, you guys, and that's okay. Sometimes the hurt has been so damaging, or sometimes people just ain't ready to change. You cannot reconcile a marriage with someone who's still cheating. You cannot. It is not possible. You can't do it. So don't try. But if you have had a breach in your relationship and your partner, or maybe it's you, maybe you're the one who cheated, and you're willing to put in the work to restore and reconcile that relationship, I do believe that you can. And I've done podcast episodes on it. You guys can go to my website, realrelationshiptalk.com. Lastly, I'll say this when it comes to jealousy in relationships. I think that if we are going to be mature men and women who have healthy relationships, healthy marriages, we are going to have to deal with some of these kind of background noise, is what I like to call them. Some of these things that happen in our relationship, they're like background noise. They're like irritants. They're like that little rock, that little pebble that you get in your shoe that you're like, oh, I just wish I could just get this thing out of my shoe. This is bothering me so much. That's how jealousy is. It doesn't rear its ugly head every day, but it's in the background. It's in there. It's like irritating the relationship. And listen, left untreated, like I said before, it's like a cancer. It is not something that you want to keep in your relationship. So deal with it. Let's be honest about it. If you struggle with jealousy, let your partner know that. Listen, I deal with jealousy a lot. And you know what? I need help. And I want to talk about this with you. I don't want to be a jealous partner. I don't want to mistrust you. I don't want to accuse you constantly of everything. Bring it into the light. That's how things are healed. I've got so much more to say on this, you guys, and I do say so much more in the podcast. So make sure that you head over to realrelationshiptalk.com/episode 112, and you can hear the full episode that I did on this very topic. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode today. I hope that you've learned something, maybe been challenged by something that you heard today. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So please do head over to the podcast and listen to it, but also put your comments and your questions and maybe share a tip that you've learned if you've overcome jealousy in your own relationships. That's it for today's video. You guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.